What's up, everybody? Welcome to Real Gamer Podcast. I'm joined today by Jason Haywood from RealGamerNewz. He's written a bunch of reviews for us over the years. Jason, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Haywood, and I'm looking forward to chatting on the podcast here.
All right. So they can check out your reviews on RealGamerNewz.com. Is there any other shout outs to any your clan or any other areas people can find you?
Um, I'm known as Jack Random on Xbox. If anybody wants to look up for that.
Nice. All right, perfect. So today we've got a number of topics we're going to get into. Will PlayStation 5 games really cost $70 each? The Xbox event coming up with 16 brand new demos and more. But let's just go ahead and get things started by talking about Call of Duty 2020 and NBA 2K21, which, by the way, Call of Duty is rumored to be called Cold War, Black Ops Cold War. We're going to see if that comes true or not. And NBA 2K21 reportedly cost $69.99 US dollars on PS5 and Xbox Series X in USA. This could mark the major change for the standard of AAA game pricing if it's going to indeed continue to follow suit with other publishers. We do see their budgets ranging between $20 to $150 million or more per game, and doesn't necessarily mean that they'll stop microtransactions or season passes just because they do this, unfortunately. However, it could
Right.
improve and reduce in-game purchases for smaller and medium games and games with overall creative vision that doesn't have a publisher forcing the compromise, right? So, you've had some time to think about this topic, right? Because this news came out recently, and I let you know about it. What do you think
Yep.
about games if they begin to cost $70 a piece, and you see, and just for the argument's sake, just assume that they don't get rid of microtransactions and DLCs, but they do slightly less of it. Like there's a bunch of games that are single player that don't do it at all. So like the
Right.
industry becomes a little bit more balanced, like PS3 days. So imagine what would your reaction be if that's the case?
As long as the quality of the game doesn't suffer, I mean, just because they're costing more and they're getting more for the budget doesn't mean the quality is going to be as good. I honestly wouldn't mind, depending on the game.
I see. Right. So, in your
Like, I mean,
prediction, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I usually buy into like, game of the year editions and season passes and whatnot if I can anyway. So
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Especially Game of the Year editions, like in the old days for single player games where they came with all the DLC. You remember those? During
oh yeah, definitely.
PlayStation 3 time, especially, was where that happened the most, I think. During the 360 as well, where it's like Mass Effect Game of the Year edition, or like Oblivion Elder Scrolls Game of the Year edition came with all the DLCs, or as many as they could at the time. But
Right, right.
yeah, but in your prediction, do you think that game companies will try to develop different price points now to compete at all different price points, or do you think that it's mainly going to be like 70 across a majority of games? Like, is it too much to hope for that there be some people that are like, okay, so the price is up to 70 for AAA games. Well, we'll drop our price to like 50 because we don't feel like we're making that level of game. Or do you think everyone's just going to want 70 now? What do you think about it?
I would hope for the first that that the companies themselves will realize they're not putting out the product that requires that much. I mean, we have a few that do it now when they release to realize they're not making like the AAA, so they won't go for that kind of price.
True. Yep, that's true.
And I'd hope that would continue for sure.
Yeah. But in your prediction, do you
Sorry,
think
yeah,
do you what does your gut tell you? What do you think is going to happen? Cuz I don't know. I feel like it'll be okay. But I feel like it's
yeah.
not a
I mean,
big deal, but I do
yeah, I
expect.
think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think it'll go all right.
All right. So then I guess we're not that hyped. We're not that worried about it.
I wouldn't be at the moment.
No. It sounds like a flashy headline, an exciting kind of thing, but the thing is, games are a masterpiece. And the thing with me in tech, I always try to remember. I don't know why. I just love tech. That's why probably I'm a fanboy of tech. Um,
Right on.
so it just seems like the billions of dollars and hundreds of people, thousands of people, millions of people, it took like the genius minds and all the robots and factories and all the AI and everything that it took to bring us to this point. I always just feel like that is a very expensive like lineage, like the history of tech has been like trillions probably wasted just on
Right.
researching and developing things that come out, and then if it's going to cost 60 or 70, you're going to be like, "Oh, that's just $10 too many. I'm sorry." And they're going to be like, "Do you not understand like the studio
Well,
to
that's just it. A
make the
lot of
game?"
people aren't gonna understand that.
I
They're
think
not
we
gonna
do.
see behind the.
Oh, some people won't. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was seeing a conversation about TVs today online in a group on Facebook, and there was people talking about the cheapest 4K TV, and I was like, 4K is not even the point anymore. All the TVs are 4K now. You're looking at
Right.
frame rate, FreeSync support. The Xbox especially supports a ton of stuff right now with the Xbox One X, which I discovered when my wife got one of those, and it has a lot of support for really cool modes and stuff. And then the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 will also take that further. So, um, people were just like way behind the times on that, and they're like worried about like $20 differences in pricing, like trying to go for the cheapest. And I was like telling one person definitely stick with a certain mid range. I'm not going to shout out
Yep.
to TV companies right now because we're not sponsored, but there's a certain
Right.
TV company that everyone knows about that just stick with them.
Yep. I mean, we'll find that people are going to be more and more up to date on the tech, so that'll help.
Right. So you're hopeful for that situation as well.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, like it might be a sticker shock at first, but then also, do you think that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One will get kind of a legacy treatment like we've never seen before because they were so successful? Or especially the PS4, to be honest.
I'm sorry. What was that?
So, in regards to the PS4, do you think we'll see like a legacy support that's bigger than before, or do you think not really? Like in terms of stores stocking PS4s and PS4 discs of games, do you think that Sony and the retailers are gonna try to make that into like a side business where they're like, oh yeah, 70 per game is a lot. Why don't you just buy a PS4? And then you get to have these other games, and they're gonna drop the price to like $40 each and stuff like that. But they won't be new anymore. They'll just be like you know, games that
Right.
if you didn't own a PS4 before, like you never got around to it, because there's still gonna be like that huge word of mouth with PS4, which is like PS2 level popularity. So that means that
Right.
during those times where the PS3 came out, they were still selling PS2 for like a year or two. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think that we'll see that with PS4 or no?
I hope so. I mean, there's always going to be a market for older games. How many people are talking about backwards compatibility and everything? So,
Yeah. I used to be obsessed with all the new stuff, and I still am, to be honest. But I'm very obsessed with the new stuff still. But now, as I'm getting like older as a gamer, I sort of like I really value and appreciate the fact that even though it seems like there's PS4s everywhere and there's PS4 discs everywhere, they're like flooded. They're like freaking. They're like water. They're just everywhere. They're like sand. They're just like tripping over
right.
piles of them. If you're going into Walmart, there's a like sections and sections of it. And if you look at the sales numbers, there's millions and millions of copies throughout the world of PS4 products. But in a couple, like 7 years from now, it's gonna feel like nostalgic. You're gonna like remember the PS4 and be like, "Whoa, that was a long time ago, man." You're like, "Yeah, I know." Like what were you doing back when the PS4 was popular, or
Right.
Xbox One? Yeah, and let's games are actually like that. So It would be nice to see them support the legacy support. I agree with you. For that reason, though, like I
Yep,
don't particularly need to go buy it, but the fact that someone's gonna discover it for the first time and enjoy it makes me happy because it does cost a lot to make games, and it also takes a lot of effort, and it doesn't always come out better the second time. Sometimes it's better the first time. So it's cool that people will play the old stuff still and enjoy it, and like it's going to waste if nobody does. You know, it's
exactly. I mean,
yeah,
I
it's
still
like
have my old PS2 that I play like to play when I can. So
yeah. Imagine if your favorite film director created like 30-hour films, and then and then people are like, yeah, I don't have time for that. I'm not watching that. Like,
right,
it's better off that the old games are getting repackaged and resold in all different ways, as many ways as possible. And for me, I'm trying to build a collection, but we won't get into that right now. So, Xbox 2020 July event will include over 60 press style game demos available on Xbox One and Xbox One X on July 21st to July 27th. It's sort of part of Summer Game Fest, I guess, but it's expected to make their live stream announcement on Xbox 2020 official. So it's more like really Xbox event,
right.
including Halo Infinite gameplay, new games, possibly the Xbox Series S if it's called that. I'm not sure. The all digital X Cloud compatible, low storage, lower spec, which we did find out through rumors and leaks that the CPU is the same as the Xbox Series X. It's the GPU that's lower spec.
Right.
People trying to downplay that. Um, I mean, if you're looking for the budget system and you don't care about the high end graphics, then there's nothing wrong with that. It's still cool that you're gonna be playing the games with people. But don't try to lie to yourself about the GPU's not that bad. Like the press are trying to like massage it, and it's like, dude, just tell it how it is. So,
Right.
which we don't technically know yet, to be fair, because we need Digital Foundry and experts like that to get their hands on the systems. And I'm planning on trying to figure out how to do my own testing stuff, since I'll probably have both systems, and I've got a few PCs laying around and some bunch of TVs and stuff. So we should be able to test the brand new systems in a few various ways. We can test them on QLED. We can test them on LED. I don't have OLED, but that's more for film. I never recommend that for gaming, anyways. Although it could be good. It can be good in its own way. So yeah, what do you think about this? It's crazy, right? Do you think that they're gonna be like rough demos like we get at E3 when you're behind the scenes, or do you think they're gonna be like super polished
Um,
demos?
I'm not sure. I mean, they really haven't put out enough, I feel, to showcase what they're coming up with.
Right. Both companies are too quiet on next gen. Is that what you're saying?
Um,
You think there's gonna
yeah,
be a
I,
cheaper Xbox this month revealed? And do you think it's like the
I,
rumors say?
I would like to see it. I mean, they really haven't been showing enough, I feel, to really compete with Sony at the moment. They're kind of pulling back, it seems.
Hmm.
Like Sony seems to be going all out, showing what they're showing, and Xbox just really hasn't shown a lot that I can see, anyways.
I think that they're gonna have a long time before they're able to show a lot because they just created and bought a bunch of new studios, and games take like at least 3 to 4 years to really make perfect games.
Right.
So they have like 1 year down on some of those projects, which is not appropriate time to usually show the game.
True. True.
It's too soon. But I do agree with you though. Like it would be better in this scenario.
I was
Sorry.
saying that, yeah, I hope they show more and definitely show other options, like cheaper options,
Oh yeah,
especially with, you know, COVID hitting, here in the States, anyways. Money's going to be tight for a lot of people for a while.
fair enough. It's true. Um, would you be interested in the cheaper unit?
Um, I would be, but as my usual, stand on newer consoles is I wait a while before I purchase. I don't get them right out of the gate because they tend to come out somewhat flawed.
Right, and you don't want to wait for more games to be available.
Yep, games and make sure the machine isn't going to have like the old red ring of death and that type of thing.
Right. I think there's a surprising amount of people who are gonna try to wait like that, but um, I still think that games are so popular that there's gonna be tons of sales as well.
Oh yeah, there definitely will
It'll
be.
probably grow versus last time, regardless of the fact that it does seem like a lot of gamers are trying to take that safer approach, especially if there's gonna be a confusing landscape with lots of different kinds of devices, which it seems like there is gonna be. So you might not
Yeah,
want
that
to select one right away before you
yeah
even
that
get to
might
see them
kind of work
perform.
against them at the beginning
Yeah,
with
you're gonna
so
have
many
to.
options.
Yeah, you're gonna want to watch how the market performs first. So you're not gonna want to buy it right away. I would probably do the same, except for the fact, trying to head up the site and stuff like that. And not, it's like it's like my main hobby. I just don't spend money on other things. I just spend money mostly only on this. So
Right.
yeah. But um, it seems that they did say it's more powerful than the Xbox One X to sort of clarify to people because it started getting confusing now. Like, where does it land in terms of power and price and everything? So they're
Right.
saying it's more powerful than Xbox One X. Um, I don't think they're gonna keep making the Xbox One and the Xbox One X if it's gonna be like so compatible. Like if they have so much backwards compatibility
Yeah,
that
that wouldn't.
I think
Yeah.
that between Xbox One and Xbox Series is 100% compatibility. So if that's the
Well, that's what they
case,
pushed at first was like they're not doing any release games for strictly for the X. Almost everything is going to be available. I mean, for the new
right,
one, they're
the
still going to be
series,
available for the current. Yeah.
right, yeah, yes, and to be honest, I think that was more of trying to make a good PR spin on a bad situation.
Right.
I think they only said that because they don't have any games ready.
That could be.
They're like, "Hey, we don't have any games. What, what should we?" They're gonna say that we don't have any exclusives. What should we say? And then they're gonna say like, "I know what to say. Tell them we don't believe in exclusives. Exclusives are racist."
Well, even though I play a lot, I have only an Xbox at the moment. I do tend to feel that Sony has the better exclusives overall.
Yeah. Uh, well, I like Xbox's ideas. I just don't always like the execution and how the game turns out.
Right.
I
Right.
think Gears 5 is good, and I think Gears Tactics is good. But Halo Wars, I try to get into it. I have a hard time getting into it. I'm not ready to say it's bad or something, but I just don't get into it yet. So I don't know if it's very good or not. But
Right.
um, I do hear about this spy thriller that's a new IP from Initiative, allegedly. It's gonna be sort of like think Splinter Cell, Hitman, sort of, but maybe more actiony.
Oh, right on. Okay.
They used to make a lot of games like that back in the day. Remember on the original Xbox and the PS2?
Yep.
There was a
You
lot
had
of
like Splinter Cell, Siphon Filter, and all kinds of games like that.
yeah. There was a lot of games like that. Remember the one where you're like a psychic, like Winback? Oh
Oh,
no, no, Winback didn't have the psychic.
it was
That was the one like
Psyops, wasn't it?
yeah, Psyops. So there's Psyops, and then there was Winback, was just like a pretty cool one, right? Uh, from the old days in
I don't think I
PS2.
played that one.
And then there's that one on the Xbox original that was an exclusive. Remember where one of them is like a beast? That was a really
Oh,
good game. That was sort of like a
yep.
spy thriller in a way. It was what is it? Co-op. What the heck was that name of that? I gotta find it again.
I can't remember.
Xbox OG. What do they even call that anymore? All their names, all their games have the same name. All those consoles. Xbox consoles have a mess with their names.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy. Brute Force. There it is. I just had to see a
Oh,
list.
right. Yep.
I found a
Yep.
huge list of just the words of the names of the games. Brute Force. That's the one. Yeah, but when you Google it, you don't find the game. So hang on. There you go. Brute Force Xbox. One of them was the reptilian beast. That's right. And then there's the girl with red hair. Here, I'll put it in the chat or Discord, whatever. See,
Yeah, I remember
Microsoft.
seeing it. I don't think I ever got to play that one.
Oh yeah, interesting one. So like they have good ideas. It's just not the execution's not always perfect. Because this game
Right.
had a different spin on things. It was like squad based. Each character had strengths and weaknesses, so you had to use them in different ways.
Right.
You were meant to do that in co-op, but back then a lot of people played by themselves. So, because there was no online for this.
Right. Yeah, not back then.
No, it was just couch co-op in May 2003. It could have supported online, but I think they just didn't bother. Maybe they did. No? Nah. Many criticisms, of course. So, our next topic. Just this one here. I don't know if you heard about this, but we do have these rumors that keep popping up, and they're kind of dormant right now, but I just thought it should be mentioned because Microsoft has the xCloud stuff, right? And that's progressing
Yep.
nicely.
Yep.
It's looking like it'll probably be the number one cloud streaming for gaming. And they're trying to start it off with like if you already own the game digitally, then you're going to stream it without paying anybody anything. You just have to have all the monthly subscription stuff from Xbox already.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And only certain games will be allowed to stream. That's how they can justify not having certain games because they're going to be like, "Hey, we don't charge you, so shut up." Because you're going to be like, yeah, they're going to be like, "Why don't you support Call of Duty Cloud?" And they're going to be like, "We're not going to address that question because this is free for you." So,
Right.
um and Sony's trying to charge, but they're mostly going to be selling their own games as time goes on. People are going to be wanting to play Sony exclusives on the PlayStation Now cloud. And it's also always a backup because what if like PS5 flopped? It probably won't happen, but it could happen. You never know. So
Right.
like if
Yeah. Yeah.
PlayStation 5, yeah, like if Xbox is just way cheaper and no one buys PS5s, and then they're like, we would really like to sell at least our some of our old games on Xbox, then they can do that because they can just be like, oh, you're not allowed to get any PlayStation games, but you can get PlayStation Cloud and like whatever bullshit we select to put on there just makes you want a PlayStation 5 even more. Because
Right.
you'll be playing like Horizon Zero Part 1, and other people are like bragging about Part 2, and then you'll be like, I guess it's worth buying a PlayStation.
Right.
Even though it'd probably be on PC. PC is like the neutral battle zone where everybody can battle. If all the streaming services like refuse to like if Microsoft's like I'm not putting PS Now on the Xbox unless you put xCloud on PlayStation 5 and then Sony's like no way. So then they're like all right fine we're not doing that. Then it's all going to take place on PC. It's going to be the battle zone.
Right.
I think Nintendo would be smart to allow xCloud on there. And that would be a powerful partnership, but it's also kind of like a 50-50. Like there's a good chance it would not happen because Japanese business would They'll see too much risk in it, and they're risk adverse. But
Right.
have you heard about that rumor too?
No, I haven't heard a lot about it. Like I said, I haven't really been in the loop on a lot of things other
Well,
than what I see through here and everything. So
what do you think about it then? What's your reaction to that? Like, do you have a Switch
no, I've been planning on getting one.
and you're also an Xbox gamer?
Yep.
So if they were to announce someday like Nintendo just feels left out all of a sudden and they're like, "Hey, don't worry, you can stream next gen games through xCloud on Switch. Like select games, maybe they're going to say. Like only a few."
Right. It depends on the options. It depends on what they're offering.
Ah, true. Well, if they like Halo Infinite, you can play it on Switch.
I've never been a big Halo fan.
Okay. So how
I,
about
I
if
got
they're
into
like,
it a little bit,
yeah,
but it's not my thing.
true.
I don't bash it. I don't turn away from it. It's just not something I
But do you
got into
already
a whole
have the
lot.
Game Pass?
Yes. Yep.
So they would have not have to pitch that hard. So what if they said like everything that's on Game Pass, you'll be able to stream to your Switch for free.
I'd
You know extra
yeah, I'd
fees.
definitely be a
You
yeah, I'd
well, you
definitely
need
be
to have
interested in that.
Nintendo Online, which is like 12 or $20 a
Oh, that's
year.
fine. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem.
So you'd be like more inclined to get the Switch at that point.
Right. That way, I don't have to be. I
And if you
can
were already
play
planning
while I'm
on it
away or
anyways,
something.
yeah, and if you
Yep.
buy a Switch and there's no xCloud, but you just happen to want the Switch, and then they come out with xCloud like a year later, then that would be awesome, right?
Oh, that'd definitely be good.
Because Microsoft made something once called the Surface Mini, and then loaded a bunch of them into a warehouse. Did you hear? Remember? Does it sound familiar? They had a whole bunch of stock that they miscounted or something, and it sort of like went down as like sales, but they really were not sold. And then they were supposed to launch a product, the Surface Mini, and it was sort of like had a little bit of gaming side to it, where you could be like a portable Xbox kind of thing going on with it. But then they like canceled it and did all this weird stuff and got in trouble, a little bit of trouble for it, like a few years back. So basically, I think what's going on there, like they're scared to launch a portable handheld, so they're trying to mask
Right.
it. Yeah, trying to mask it as like a PC, but then it's like not a strong competitor in the PC world. So everyone's like, "What the fuck? Why does it cost so much?" So they're like, "Cause it's a fucking Xbox," but they're scared to call it that. So if they partner with Switch, I think that would be smart because then they can avoid the whole entire problem. Just don't you never have to make a hardware sales and a marketing team, and then like when they come in broken, you gotta fix them and shit, and people sitting on
Right.
them, and then I sat on my portable Xbox. Can you give me another one? Like
Yeah, that'd definitely be the smarter move for them. I
Microsoft's
think.
customer service team is notoriously bad at answering people like that. They'll be like harassing them. Like, why have you broken this, ma'am, ma'am? So it's better off to let Nintendo deal with that. But
Yep.
we do have these rumors from Sony that they're gonna make a PlayStation 5, or at least that they've explored the possibility, which is lame. Like it'd be cool if they make this and be brave, but to be realistic, they might not do this at all. So just saying, people, but they have like multiple patents that I've been watching across like a past year and a half or more for this one, and it's basically a PlayStation 5 remote play device, which acts as a separate like you buy it separately. It's probably going to be like hundreds of dollars, of course. It's
Yep.
it's probably going to cost more than a Switch, to be fair, because it's probably higher tech than that. Sony's ridiculous, and it will probably be like set up to look just like a Vita, but they're never gonna mention the Vita through any of the advertising. They're gonna never like pretend like the PSP and the Vita have no relation to this thing. This thing is just like a slab with controllers on the end, and it's like when you're not at home, it connects to your PS5. If your PS5, like if you're stupid and you disconnect your router or whatever, like or it's just not your fault, but like it won't connect or whatever the
Yep.
case, you can pay for PlayStation Now. You can use their cloud and just be like
Hmm.
wherever I'm at, I'm just cloud gaming. And
Right.
then, yep, your access to games would be limited, but there would also be sort of like free-ish. Like you're gonna pay for PS Now, but you're not gonna pay per game. You're gonna pay per month. So
Right. And
that's their
you'll have
excuse.
access to whatever they have on there.
Correct. That's their excuse to be like, I have what I have. Just take it or leave. And
Right.
in theory, if game companies are like nice to you, like third party, like GTA 6, Grand Theft Auto 6 or something, like if somebody wants to be cool and be like, well, we decided to support it remote play. Like there was quite a lot of support for remote play on PS4. It took time, but towards the later half, it's all that supported. So you
Yeah,
can
I
play.
remember hearing about that.
It's kind of neat because you can put like a laptop in a different room and sort of like plug in your PS4 controller and just play. But it does not work well when you're out of the house because PS4 probably is not powerful enough or something like that. I don't know, but
Right.
it's just the software, the operating system's not set up quite right. I don't know. But the rumor is that the PS5 is designed from the beginning to have this slab, which is sort of like a companion. It's a unit that will kind of like make you want to go back to your PS5 more. It's not to replace the PS5, it's just to make you like think of your PS5 all the time. Does it make sense? And
Yep.
they're also going to have the PlayStation app obsessed with reminding you like, "Oh, this game's on sale. Oh, this game that you like is similar to the game you like." They're going to go push things a little bit further than before, where they were like that Japanese culture where they're very like they don't want to get in your face. Well,
Right.
now they're about to get in your face. Be like, you played a shooter, so like, here's three other shooters to buy. Just click one button and you've bought them all. And then if they're all on sale and they look good, I might press it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank you. You like saved me the time of having to go through the store and pick out what I like and find what's on sale and all that crap. It could come in handy. Just have to have your willpower to say no as a consumer.
Yeah,
But
that's where I have a problem.
like, so for you personally, you're kind of like looking at Nintendo. They have a strong handheld platform, and you're already in on Xbox for your home network. This is an interesting standpoint because I was looking at things as the other way around. Like Xbox strategy is sort of like to be your second system or your third system because that's the strategy they have to approach at the moment because PlayStation
Yep.
4 is ridiculously popular.
Oh yeah.
So, and a lot of people have a Switch. It's selling fast. It's sexy, it's cool, it's cute, it's neat, it's everything you want it to be. It's wholesome if you want, or there's like adult games, it's everything. They have a lot of strategy games if you like those. It's not really the best for shooters. I mean,
Yep.
some of them feel okay, acceptable. Some of them kind of don't. But I am always a sucker for it when I hear that there's one released. Like I'll probably try Epic's Legends just to see how it is. That game is smooth as hell, so there's a chance that could bring some smoothness to the Switch for shooters. And then there's the Crisis as well coming out, but um, it's not that high tech. It was sort of like a test for them, I believe. They're gonna put out something more powerful someday, but they're just like very good with customer service. They're gonna make sure everyone's happy first, and then they're gonna find a way to like everybody's trying to find a way to get more compatible. I think there was a rumor that they were gonna put out a Switch Pro unit, and that then the first party titles would be released on both units, and then other titles it will be up to the third party if they want to do it or not on the old units. Which they probably would because it's like a cross gen situation where they could just render it lower, probably.
Right.
Yeah. But that rumor seems to be like, even if it was true, Nintendo's like not gonna go through with it at the moment. So that's not gonna happen for some years. But what do you think about that? Like from the angle of but yeah, but Xbox is like from the one angle they're trying to be like coming with that cheaper unit. That's for people like who already have PlayStation 4, a Switch, and maybe a PC, and they're gonna buy PS5. And then Xbox is like, I don't have any money left for you, and you don't have that many exclusives. And then Microsoft is there like, well, listen, hey, wait, let's make a deal. Like go get Xbox Game Pass on your PC and you're done. Or like if you really want, you can get the cheap unit. and it's way cheaper than PS5, and then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, all right. Like it's not gonna be instead of PS5. It's gonna be in addition to PS5. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
They're thinking like that. They're thinking like, hey, if I can get this unit as cheap as possible, you'll just give me a chance because you know you don't have to buy games. You can just get the Xbox Game Pass. And the fact they're promising the first party games and you already have other platforms, that's all you care about anyways. You're just like, listen, I only want to
Right.
play. Yeah, like what's the point in starting up a file on some RPG game and then you're mostly playing on your PlayStation and you're like, wow, damn. Like my file is over there. I got to go play it over there. You would rather just people mostly just stick to one, but that's a really good selling point for them. And then also, if you really want the good graphics, you're still gonna get the Xbox Series X, but you don't have to buy the games again. You can get the Game Pass.
Right. And yeah, that's because if you've already, got the, PlayStation and like you had said, if you just want access to the Xbox exclusive, you don't want to have to pay for a high-end system. You want something a little cheaper.
Yeah, right. Like if you're more into gameplay, not really. If you don't really know about graphics or you don't care, like if you mainly play Nintendo, but you just want to dabble in the Xbox exclusives, that would be a good way too. Like also that's another demographic. There's a group of people who just don't give a shit about the consoles as much. They're more into the cute anime kind of games. So like the Nintendo Switch is serving them just fine.
Yep.
But then they're like, "Oh, but there's a couple third-party titles I thought I might want to try." And now I heard it's on Game Pass at the moment. So if I go get the cheap unit, like maybe that type of person does not have PC, so that's a good idea to have the unit for them.
Right.
So from an Xbox standpoint, as an Xbox user primarily, how do you feel with Sony's marketing going on? Do you feel like personal part aside, like I'll be interested to hear that too, but in terms of just objectively, how do you feel about PS5 at the moment and what they're marketing and everything that they're doing? Like, what's your stance right now? How do you feel? Do you feel like, yeah? Let me know. Let me know.
Like, do I feel like do they have the advantage or
Anything that comes to mind. Yeah. What's your take stance on things, and how does it result to you as a gamer? But what's your view objectively of everything, and then take it to like your personal side.
I mean, right now I feel that PlayStation or Sony definitely has the advantage in consoles. They have the better track record, I guess, especially with the most recent system, the PS4 and the Xbox One. And people are going to keep looking at that. And as we had said earlier, Xbox just doesn't have the exclusives.
Right. So now, how is this affecting you as a gamer that's already on Xbox? What do you think about this? How do you feel? Does it make you want PS5 instead, or what do you like? How does it make you feel?
It it does to some extent. I mean, some of the PS5 or Sony in general, some of their exclusives interest me more. Honestly, the only reason I ended up with an Xbox was because it was available to me at the time, and I wanted to jump on the chance to grab it. If they had offered a PlayStation instead, I would have taken that just as quickly.
Right. So, um, now, is there any other reasoning which would make you feel like, even though Sony's doing a good job with their console track record and what they're showing, in your opinion, for games and stuff is better than Xbox? So, is there anything that stands in your way that makes you feel like it would still be a better choice for you to get the Xbox?
Just for the time and money I've put into the Xbox as it is already. Like I said, I have my gaming clan that I game with, the friends that I have. I'd have to start completely over if I switched over to PlayStation.
Right. That makes sense. So, also, are you excited then? Like, has Microsoft done a good job by keeping you in touch by saying, like, they have the smart delivery package where they're going to allow you to upgrade certain select games for free up to the next gen version.
I
Do you
do like that idea.
like
Yes.
that? Yeah. And so it turns out they kind of led the industry with that idea, and Sony at first said no. Do you remember that one? Like in the interviews and stuff. Do you remember hearing that?
I remember hearing a little bit about it, but I didn't really read up on it.
Yeah, their Japanese executives were saying like that's not going to happen. We're not doing that. And then later comes down that like okay, certain titles maybe, yeah. But there's like stipulations. And EA had like a stipulation, but then everybody got outraged. So now they're going to do it with the regular Xbox program because the Xbox has their own program for you to easily join. So it was like kind of offensive to gamers that EA was trying to skirt that. When they announced it, they made it seem like they're doing Xbox Smart Delivery, but they were not. They just had their own stipulation program. So, do you know about the specs difference between the Xbox Series X and the PS5?
Um, no, I haven't really looked into that.
They're both pretty
That I
complicated systems. It's looking like the Xbox Series X is going to be slightly more powerful, though. In some ways, the PS5 is some more powerful than others, but in general, I think the Xbox Series X has more traditional, like raw power.
right, right.
And in my personal opinion, based on my tech experience and everything, I do think that the Xbox Series X, even though the PS5 is super super cool and it's gonna be very powerful, and they've got custom chips in it and all kinds of shit. It's really cool, man. I like it. There's some special designs in there, proprietary stuff, which is exciting and futuristic, and it works. And it'll change sort of how games are made, but the Xbox I think is still more powerful unit. It just barely edged it out because the raw power is
Right.
more important. The reason is because they did that form factor and they're cooling it. They're cooling it. They did a partnership with a company that does PC cooling. So they designed the AIO with Microsoft and the fan and everything, and Sony does not have something like that. So they have variable compute power. It scales up and down. Like literally, the electricity scales up and down. So the frequency, the gigahertz, also scales up and down as to what's needed. And you can shift power. You can give more power to the CPU or more power to the GPU at any given time. And that part I don't really like, and I don't think it's gonna help. And there's some developers which like it, and there's some which don't. So it's a bit controversial, sort of like another console
You lose
wars.
me again.